Okay, everybody, how's it going? Still figuring out how to stream to multiple platforms. I figured out X, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Kick.com. Just trying to figure out how to go to... How many platforms is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 platforms at the same time. It takes a lot. I understand why people use Restream, but I'm trying to do it for cheap because I'm cheap. You know what? You know what the most annoying platform to go live on is? It's Facebook. The Facebook platform is just like a nightmare to go live on. Good to see you, Infinite, over on X. Why doesn't Sony just stick to single player games? They saw Fortnite and it ruined them. Well, I don't know about that. I think they saw dollar signs and it's caused some issues. Let's see what we got here. Where do we want to start today? Let me see here. I suppose we start with the dollar sign fair games story that we all saw. No updates on Unity. I have no idea what happened. Everybody got real quiet after that story. I need me some marathon drama. Well, I suppose we can start talking about marathon. If you heard, Colin Moriarty over on Last Stand Media had a little bit of a report. I think I'm going to go ahead and drop the music here, y'all. Yeah, so Colin Moriarty had a bit of a report. My camera looks like interlaced or something. Anyway, where it sounds like all marketing for the game has basically been pulled for Marathon. Here's what Colin had heard. I guess this is related to what I said about them scrapping the campaign and reworking, but if it's just flat canceling, sure, may pivot to a delay. At this point, I don't see how they avoid that or Sony cuts their losses. Now, Paul thinks it's not canceled. I think they are heavily debating that right now. And I am working on a follow-up to this because I had never read the Christopher Barrett lawsuit. I had just read like Stephen Totillo's reporting and some others reporting about it. And when you actually dive in to that report and start reading what's going on with Bungie internally, the Barrett claims mimic a lot of the claims that we're hearing just across the board. And granted, Sony snapped back at Barrett with some accusations and such. But you can glean a lot about what's going on internally at the company, and none of it sounds good. It seems like there's a lot of turmoil and strife internally at Bungie. And you know who gets caught in the middle? The people that just want to make cool stuff, the people who actually joined the team and just wanted to make cool Destiny, a cool Destiny game. And I think that's really, really unfortunate. So the latest is that, of course, as you have probably seen, the reporting that all their marketing plans have been pulled. This is from Colin. Colin, obviously, he just interviewed Neil Druckmann. So Colin Moriarty has better ends at Sony than I do. I can't get Sony to email me back to save my life. Granted, they don't get a lot of benefit to emailing me back when I'm like, hey, do you want to comment on all this marathon drama that's tied up in legal battles? Here's the report from the Game Post. The Game Post was nice enough to take my whole exclusive and link like in the 15th paragraph. I think it was them. It was one of those sites I was like, come on, really? Like you anyway, Marathon's delay likely as Sony cancels all paid marketing plans. So it just never ends. It just never ends with this drama. Everybody smelled blood in the water, I think. And this art scandal just kicked everybody into high gear, right? First, the studio was rocked by the art theft scandal. Bungie apologized. Then the whole art controversy happened. Now there's reports painting a bad picture, with Paul Tassi reporting that morale is in free fall. Some have even gone as far as calling Marathon's leadership toxic and humiliating. That was posted publicly online. On top of all that, another report claimed that after the mixed reaction to the closed alpha, Bungie pushed back its marketing and pre-order plans that were supposed to go live. That was via Paul Tassi. But now we're hearing that they've reportedly canceled all paid marketing for Marathon. Now, here is the question that I have for you all. Should Bungie delay or cancel? Should I do a poll? Should I even do a poll? I just want to know what you think. Should they delay it or should they cancel it? Kyle says, even before the scandals, when the closed alpha starts, it was people didn't want casual extraction shooter. Then ARC started and it was, oh, Marathon just isn't good. Cancel. Poll, cancel. I haven't seen a single delay. Over on Twitch, Illegal Not saying cancel. Over on X, Infinite Hero is saying, I'd say cancel. Got 2 more cancels. Solid and Kyle say cancel. Victor says cancel. Maddie J. Okay, nobody said delay. Everybody says cancel it. I got to be honest. I don't think they will cancel it, but I think they probably should cancel it. And I don't think they'll close Bungie. I think what's going to happen is, reading the Barrett lawsuit, it's really interesting. So they have two branches, right? They have like the Bungie Council, and then they have the Sony Council. And the Sony Council's like, yeah, we'll let you do whatever. Sorry, the Bungie Council and then the Sony Council. And the Sony Council's just like, yeah, we'll let you do whatever you want. Just don't mess things up. Well, things have been getting messed up, and slowly but surely, more and more people are being knocked off of the board. I believe Barrett was one of the people on the board. Barrett's now obviously gone. So, and in his lawsuit, you know what? I'll just bring up my notes really quick because I was taking notes about it. But I was doing this for a larger piece that I'm working on, related to the entirety of the controversy and just everything that's been going on with all of the things. Let's see what we got here. Kyle says, it's really unfortunate to see all the negative Marathon reception. I feel like the premise of an extraction FPS sounds fun. Never tried this genre before. I played the alpha with Illegal Not, and he did not like it. Every once in a while, oh, even on Facebook, somebody's saying cancel. Jeez. So even with everything, a lot of people are feeling not great about it. Good morning, Chill. So let me just go to the bottom because that's where the good stuff is. So Christopher Barrett is suing for $45,579,627. He said he's owed FMLA violations. He believes that he's owed not less than $100 million in damages for defamation charges. There's exemplary charges of another $45.5 million for his attorney, etc. He wants to be reinstated, and I think that's everything. Whatever other money they think is necessary. So if you add up all the things he believes he's owed in his lawsuit, it's $191,159,264 with interest. So probably closer to $200 million. Kyle says 100% employee from Sony now. They've been mad, fail, fire, and no bonus. A modicum of success. Even Hiroki Tsutoki said that Bungie's leadership is having issues. He said they felt there was room for improvement from a business perspective with regards to areas such as use of business expenses. I would love to know more about how Sony feels business expenses are being misused, because that's an interesting one. And assuming accountability for development timelines. I just don't see how they can get all of the plagiarism out of the game in time and manage to salvage this thing. I just don't think it's going to happen, y'all. If I look a little extra sweaty today, I was in the yard working on a garden bed for my wife. So, yeah. Destin, have you played it or seen it being played? I know news is pretty limited, but would like to hear if the game is fun or not. I did a whole series of episodes about it with Fran and Paul. And on the first episode, I said it's not good. I said it needs a ton of work. It seems pretty bare bones. The second half of the episode, they had to like rework the aiming because they had auto aim turned on and stuff. They don't have proximity chat. And then that's weird. It says I don't follow Paul Tassi. And then the real weird thing is that, why would it say I don't follow Paul Tassi? That's weird. Oh, it still says I don't follow him. Did Paul block me? That would be awkward. I lost my train of thought. Have you played any game on Pro at 8K 30? No, and I probably won't. I don't even have an 8K supported television. Anyway, thanks, Marcus. I don't really know what to think. I think Sony needs to step in. I think Sony needs to step in, and I think they need to take over Bungie at this point. I think it's very clear that the people in leadership roles, and I've said publicly that it just sounds like Pete Parsons just isn't cutting it. And there's all of these. What's the AI chat summary? Can somebody paste it? I love those. And there's like documentaries out there now about Parsons. I believe the composer talks about having issue with Parsons. Like every time you hear his name, it's not in a positive light. And it just is what it is. So anyway, yeah, the latest is they've now scrapped all marketing. Here's what Colin said on the show. I was told by someone familiar with marketing plans in a key overseas market that there are now no plans to do paid marketing for Marathon at all, Moriarty said during the podcast. I don't know if those plans were affected by what has recently happened or if there was always the plan or whatever, but it is considered a fairly unusual move for a game of this high profile. I just think there's no way it comes out in September. I have no clue how they could ever get this game out in September and see success. I just don't see it happening. Plus, then, I gave my report about all of the drama happening internally and how employees feel about it internally, with one saying something along the lines of like, Sony needs to take over. It's the only way forward. So yeah, Marathon is basically cooked. Even if the game comes out, it's going to like limp out of the gate. This game is not going to come out and see an explosion of players. It's just not going to happen. The story has been written by the internet already that Marathon is bad. Not just from a gameplay perspective or anything like that. Already people were fairly uninterested, but then you add plagiarism allegations on top of that. It's just not a good look. The court of public opinion, Phil Aroni exactly has. The court of public opinion is this game isn't cool. It's not cool to play. And if you are playing it, then yeah. The story has been written by dogpiling YouTubers. I wouldn't say that reporting on the news and talking about the news about art theft and plagiarism is dogpiling. It's everybody has their audience. Like I have my audience and we're all reporting the news that's happening. It's a major news story. It's the biggest plagiarism allegation that we've ever seen in the industry. I can't think of another instance of plagiarism this severe where the whole design aesthetic, and I stick by it. That's my opinion. I'm allowed to my opinion. And people are like, oh, I'm an arts major. Well, as an arts major, it's clear they had other inspirations. It's like, I don't care. All I see is anti-real. So you can tell me whatever you want with your art degree and Mr. Fancy Pants. But I look at it and I see all those little squiggles all over the place and all the little squares. And it's like, that's anti-real. And then I know everybody's just regurgitating the thread that was put online, but you look at that thread, none of those inspirations that people are saying were inspirations for other products in the past have anything to do with where Marathon is today. They took a whole design aesthetic from Anti-Real's portfolio. They literally copy pasted. That is a lot different than Robitech or whatever inspiring other designs in the future and people coming up with their own take on it. No, they copy pasted it. So I don't want to hear anything about, oh, well, it's clearly they're just inspired by it. No, the whole website still had the graphics on it when we looked a few days ago, or at least something similar to it. So, I don't understand why everybody's like jumping up to defend this. This is not defensible. They've admitted to it. So that's my whole take on the whole thing. I think it would have been obvious to reboot this game the same way as Doom 2016, but Marathon should have been already in the pipeline as one of PlayStation's 12 live service games and already far down enough in development timeline. This is like the second or third time that they have rebooted it internally. Kyle, welcome to the Epic tier. Thank you for becoming a member and supporting my work. I appreciate it. Anyway. Plagiarism is happening everywhere all the time and no system to catch it is perfect, says Richard Welsh. Yeah, I mean, this is really blatant though. They literally have the artist's name on the materials used. It's in their reveal gameplay trailer. Anti-Real's art is in the reveal trailer. It's bad. Anyway. Want to talk about another disaster of a live service game? Have you heard of Fair Games? Because Fair Games, here's what Luke Stevens, I don't know where Luke Stevens' source is. We'll probably scroll down and find it in about 2 seconds. But here's the TLDR. Fair Game $ gameplay details leaked. Described as blending Fortnite with The Division and is an extraction game with the finals inspirations. Anytime I hear somebody reference Fortnite, I'm like, this is a corporate business person pitching this idea, or somebody pitching to corporate business people and they're throwing Fortnite in there because they know, oh, $. We can have Star Wars integrated with our product and all of this other crazy stuff. And we're going to make so much money. And to me, as a gamer, I get real worried. Because I worry about the art behind the project, right? If you're already like pitching it as a Fortnite knockoff mixed with Division and the finals, heist themed with 3 to 4 player teams. Pre-alpha feels super clunky. That's not what you want to hear in pre-alpha. It shouldn't feel super clunky. Like your core mechanics should be good. Feedback from recent playtest was not positive. That was corroborated by the Bloomberg piece. Leadership just experienced a shakeup after the negative reception. Yeah, because the leader left. The person who founded the company left. So this is from Push Square. PS5 PC live service Fair Games is a super clunky cross between Fortnite and The Division. I like that. That's a good headline. Push Square. Fair Games, formerly known as Fair Games, was announced alongside Sony's disastrous first-person shooter Concord as part of the firm's wider live service push. However, recently we heard that developer Haven Studios founder Jade Raymond, a Ubisoft veteran who played a pivotal role in the early success of Assassin's Creed, has departed the company following a round of bad feedback. I've never seen a gaming community come together the way that they did to tell Sony that their live service plans stink. I don't care if you're like a PlayStation fan or an Xbox fan or a PC fan. People just look at Fair Games and they've seen Marathon and we have rumors about their other projects and everyone's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's how it seems like most people feel. Oh, is this another one from Colin? And now, courtesy, yeah, of the latest PlayStation podcast, Sacred Symbols, more information about the project is beginning to trickle out. Apparently, a pre-alpha was distributed via PSN under the name Project Hearts. What? Enabling a small number of participants to go hands-on with the game. According to those people, it's a battle royale crossed with an extraction shooter with elements of both Fortnite and The Division present. If you remember the original trailer, it had a contemporary Robin. No, it did not. It looked dumb. As squads of fashionable rogues. It just looked purple. It looked very purple. Apparently, the game sees you dropped into a large urban environment in teams of 3 to 4 and tasks you with stealing from vaults while the other groups of players attempt to do the same. In other words, it sounds like yet another extraction shooter similar to the uber popular Escape from Tarkov or Sony's subsidiary Bungie's Marathon, which is currently much less popular. I can't talk today. But apparently the game doesn't feel good to play and is super clunky in its current guise, which reflects what Bloomberg wrote in their report. That's 2 good gets from Colin. Colin Moriarty. You can go to patreon.com/laststandmedia, I think, and support him. I think I actually back Colin. Still on Patreon. I subscribed to him for something, and it's one of those things where you like, oh yeah, I still support Colin. But they put out so much freaking content, Last Stand Media, I can't keep track of it. Destin, you played Marathon. Be honest, 1 to 10, 4. 4 out of 10. It doesn't, and Victor, the reason I give it a 4 out of 10 is mainly because it doesn't have that tension that an extraction shooter needs. Like if you lose everything, it's kind of like, all right, whatever. Like I'll just take my garbage bundle back into the next match. I don't know. I never really cared. I didn't care about anything except for advancing the story quests. And those turn out to just be like really boring and annoyingly structured. Yeah. So anyway, Fair Games also seems not great. Yeah. There's you just like don't care. 4 to 10 trash, should be canceled. Like look at the Steam DB for the alpha. Let me show you. You can look at the charts. Let's just look at the charts for the fall off. 1 month. Okay. So I'm going to show you this chart. This was on Steam, right? It peaked the first day they let the most people. Yeah. So first day, 6,919 people were playing on Wednesday, April 23rd. By the 24th, they had lost 1,400. By the 25th, they have lost more than half. This is when they let more players in. It's not even a week later. So from the 23rd to the 29th, 1 week later, they were down to 1/3 the player base. And I'm bad at math, so it's lower than that. Maybe even 1/4. And then it just, like, by the end of it, like, nobody was playing the game anymore. So then you add drama on. So these are the most hardcore, dedicated extraction shooter players on planet Earth. It's Shroud had access and Lupo had access, et cetera, et cetera. It's bad. It's really, really bad. Yeah, but the change percentage gain isn't accurate because it went to 0. So anyway, speaking of Division, though, check Arc Raiders, please. I heard it was increasing over its access. Let's check it out. Yeah, let's see how Arc Raiders did. I don't know if I got to look at a certain one because it's, oh my goodness. Well, we can look at the follower history for Arc Raiders. Look at this. And then this is when the buzz happened. Oh my God. Yeah, look at that. And it's not growing as fast, but you're talking about a couple thousand followers gained every day for Arc Raiders. These are followers. And Arc Raiders is going free to play. And if you want to see their play test, I was in this playtest. I don't know how accurate these numbers are. This is the only chart that I can find for the playtest. But I went from 9 to 21. They lost 1,000. And then I think this must have been Monday or whatever. But anyway, the interest for Arc Raiders is palpable. And it's really cool. I think Arc Raiders is really fun. The reason Arc Raiders works and the reason Marathon doesn't is the sound design of Arc Raiders is superb. It's absolutely superb. It also looks visually interesting. They had an art style. They really, really went for it, and they nailed like every aspect of it with the robots. It's like almost like a Star Wars sort of vibe. There's like explosions happening in the distance that have an impact. I made a whole video about my time with it, and I was like really, really refreshed and feeling good about Arc Raiders. Speaking of Tom Clancy, next week, I'm probably going to be checking out Battle for Brooklyn. The Battle for Brooklyn DLC drops next week. And then the new season Crossroads. So I'll be interested to check that out. That's for sure. But anyway. I haven't seen any crazy stream problems, but obviously I'm streaming to 5 platforms. Let me know if anything goes crazy. Oh, okay. Here we go. I was like, I don't really know what else to talk about. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is seeing a big resurgence. Beyond this stuff, there's like the Randy Pitchford thing I'm going to get to. This is one I didn't do a story on, but I found it sort of interesting. The Avowed director, Carrie Patel, has left Obsidian after 12 years to join the Netflix studio behind Oxenfree. Now, whenever I see somebody at a gaming studio who has been there for that period of time leave, I get concerned about the game studio. So when Jade Raymond, the CEO and founder, leaves the company, I'm worried about the Fair Games studio, Haven. And when Carrie Patel leaves Obsidian after being there for 12 years, I'm kind of like, that's a little concerning. Now, I'm not saying anything's happening. Obsidian's been around forever. They have a ton of stuff in the works right now. They're about to come out with Outer Worlds 2. Holoraids, thank you for checking. I appreciate it. Thank you for whatever platform you're watching on. Thank you, first of all. And here's what they said. Night School's new project still hasn't been revealed, but at least now it has a director. So Carrie Patel was hired to direct Night School's new project. Here's what it said. After nearly 12 years at Obsidian Entertainment, Avowed game director Carrie Patel has left the studio to take on a similar position at Night School, the Netflix-owned developer of Oxenfree games. Patel announced her departure and new role in a very brief message posted on LinkedIn via Insider Gaming. I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position as game director at Night School, a Netflix game studio. Paris Lilly interviewed Carrie Patel like a month ago. So I was really, really surprised by this because it's always surprising when somebody's like out there doing interviews. But this whole story just made me think about Avowed and my reaction to Avowed. I played a decent chunk of it and I was having a good time. But I think there's too many options out there right now. Kyle says, imagine your game getting a parodied nickname from another game that absolutely embarrassed you from no return. Oh yeah, Kyle's talking about Art Raiders. Yeah, Paris, you interviewed Carrie Patel like a month ago. And then they're just like, oh, just kidding, I'm gone. Now, I'm sure Obsidian's going to be fine. But and Avowed probably did okay. But Obsidian keeps releasing these like good games that find a niche, but I haven't seen anything from Obsidian like explode in popularity. Am I forgetting anything? Was Avowed 70? Avowed was on Game Pass. I don't remember if it was 70 or not. And Avowed wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad game or anything like that. I had a good time with it. But I think for most people, Avowed's like a 7. Let's look on Metacritic. I don't like to do this, but yeah. Or is there a better aggregate? Oh, it's actually an 8. So generally favorable from critics. And then from the user score was 6.9. So I was like dead on with the user score here. Yeah, so meta score from reviewers 81, and then reviewers were 6.9. So 7, 8. So it wasn't bad, but I haven't seen like a breakout smash hit from them in a while. I think they released into a window with a lot of good games. And I don't think it's bad. If it's on Game Pass, go play it. Oh, Hollerade says Kick's being weird. I'm just going to give up on Kick. I don't know why Kick's being stupid, but it is. So I give up on it. Yeah, New Vegas was good. New Vegas came out like 25 years ago. So anyway, yeah. Carrie Patel has left Obsidian. All the best to Carrie Patel. 12 years is a long run. Trust me, I know. I worked at a company for 13 years. What do we have here? There's a story Jez broke, but I don't remember what I Googled, but I have it open. Let's talk about this. Guys, I know we were all worried about how the FTC case would pan out against Microsoft. Turns out not very good for the FTC and all of our tax dollars, because the FTC has dropped the case over Microsoft's $69 billion Activision Blizzard deal. Well, FTC, I just want to say thank you for fighting the good fight and spending a lot of money on a terrible case that you'd never really had. Destin, have to correct you on the Arc Raiders being free to play. The developers came on a Discord and said that was a mistake on Polish Epic Store. It will be a paid game. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I didn't know that. Yeah, I thought it was going to be free to play, and I'm like, well, Marathon's done. Honestly, I'm sort of indifferent on it being a free to play game because the cosmetics aren't like that enticing. You don't really see your character all the time, but yeah. Michael James, good to see you. Oh boy. Kids are going crazy. Here's what it says. May 22nd, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission dropped a case that sought to block Microsoft's $69 billion purchase. Well, guess what? The FTC chairman, Andrew Ferguson, is seeking to use the agency's resources for cases that fit with President Donald Trump's agenda, such as a probe related to whether advertisers colluded to spend less on X, first reported by Reuters on Thursday. Ferguson is beginning to shut down some efforts started by his predecessor, Lina Khan, including dropping a case on Thursday that accused PepsiCo of price discrimination that favored Walmart. The FTC lost an appeal on May 7th, seeking to reverse a judge's decision, declining to block the Microsoft Activision deal, which closed in 2023. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that's finally done. We all knew that was going to be done, even if it was Lina Khan. Like, that case didn't have a chance. The judge said, this case is done. The judge backed it up. And now it's done. Now it's super done. Now it's super done. Wynn says, no problem. And did you see people found in the code of Arc Raiders a countdown that goes to Summer Games Fest, which could mean a big open beta or even possible release that I bet that would be cool. I think I'm going to play Arc Raiders a lot. Please address that you intend to shave your brows on stream. I do not. I will not shave my eyebrows. For $10, it can be uber done. I think that they're going to, what do you think? $40? You think they're going to do 40? 20? I don't think it's going to be a $60 game. Man, I think if they do 40, they're going to sell like crazy. Like the hype is already there. I think they could even push it to 50. If they come below 40 or below 50, I think it's going to be. Last Stand Media just posted an update. That's what I'm talking about. Like if you back Last Stand Media, this is a good Last Stand Media promo, right? They're constantly blowing up my phone with new updates. It's a done deal if that game is $40. You know what else is a done deal? Stellar Blade 2. Stellar Blade sequel confirmed, and it might arrive sooner than you think. Stellar Blade 2's potentially quick turnaround is something of a rarity these days. Stellar Blade developer Shift Up subtly revealed it's developing a sequel to its 2024 hit, and it might launch surprisingly soon. As part of an investor report published May 16th, Shift Up included a slide showcasing its plans for the next couple of years. Platform expansion is listed under Stellar Blade. I need to play Stellar Blade. I played like 10 minutes of it and then shut it off. And it's reasonable to assume this is referring to the PC port due out next month. The eye-catching note is sequel, essentially confirming Shift Up is working on a Stellar Blade 2, because the chart is showing Shift Up's projects from 2024 to 2027, and based on the placement of sequel, we can reasonably surmise the developer is targeting 2026 for a sequel to Stellar Blade. Great! That is awesome, I think, to hear. It's just a really, really great piece of news to hear, in my opinion. I need to play more Stellar Blade. All I've heard about Stellar Blade is positivity. I've heard really, really good things about Stellar Blade, and I would love to play more of the game. Holleraid says we need another Xfil chat episode. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's happening anytime soon. It's just going to be us like, oh man. You know what I might do an Xfil chat episode on? Arc Raiders. I actually had that plan. That was going to be our last episode before like Marathon came out. We were going to do an episode about Arc Raiders and how good it was versus our experience with Marathon, and talk about like our final thoughts on Marathon. We just couldn't get our schedules right. And then all of this has happened. We probably should do another Xfil chat, honestly, I think. But anyway, I think Stellar Blade unfortunately got called a Gooner game. And a lot of people just were like, girl pretty sort of reactions. But I actually think the gameplay, when people actually got into the game and played the game, I think it was good. And the fact that it had like a fashion game attached to it, that's fine. What always really surprises me is just, I don't know why people react so surprised or whatever you want to call it, when people have earnest conversations about how us as humans, and I've looked at the psychology about it, we are more likely to think positively about somebody who looks attractive, conventionally attractive, whatever that means, right? And I think that certainly didn't hurt Stellar Blade, having an attractive protagonist in the form of the lead in the game. And I don't think that really hurts any game. I think it's when you get, I think one of those games that really push it a little, like just that much too far, in my opinion. What was that like Destiny clone that Tencent made? I think that one's a little bit too gooner, in my opinion. Destiny's too old to say gooner. It's just the lingo, right? What was it called? It was like a Destiny clone, and it was just a little too. First Descendant. First Descendant's a pretty fun game. But all the characters, male or female, all the characters are super attractive and they all look good. And like every psychological study that has been done about this proves that people like to see attractive looking characters. And to me, when I play a game, unless I'm like doing it for the lulz, I will play a muscle bound idiot in the game, with the exception of Tiger Woods Golf, where I made a very overweight character that looked silly because I thought it was funny to see that person in the PGA Tour, right? So there's some people that do it for like the jokes or the lulz or whatever. But I think if you're playing as something, there's a term for it. The idolized version of ourselves, right? And you kind of want to be attractive. Like, I don't care if I play as a lady or if I play as a guy. I want to play as somebody that looks good. So yeah. You gave too much credit to Jade Raymond in your video earlier this week. She has had multiple studios built around her, and she hasn't shipped a project since like Assassin's Creed. No, what I said in the video was she has usually left, and then there's a big fallout after she leaves for the last few projects. But initially in the Ubisoft games, she did seem to have a positive impact when she was at Ubisoft, and it wasn't until after she left that she hasn't really found her footing or had a big W. Like, she worked on Stadia, she worked with the team that was making the Star Wars game over at EA. That whole place shut down, and Visceral shut down, and now she's working here and she's out as the CEO. So yeah. Korean MMOs would like a word. Well, yeah. Breaking news, everybody. My one female viewer has commented, as a female, I like playing a spectrum of characters. It's the story for me. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like, when I'm making a character in a character creator, I never go out of my way to make my character grotesque unless it's for a joke, right? So that's sort of it. And there's all of these studies in psychology about how we see attractive people more favorably than we do unattractive people. They would show, there was this one study that was done where they would show an attractive person, then they would show an unattractive person, and they would say one of these people were convicted of a crime. And they would be like, who's more likely to be guilty? And of course, everybody said the unattractive person was, oh, well, that I know that person's guilty. And it, like, you can go look these studies up. So it's like a known phenomenon. It's not like weird. It's not crazy to think about that. Anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I was thinking about, I have a few video ideas about that. Like one of the questions I have that I've really been thinking about lately is like, why is does the gaming industry deny the reality of basic psychological stuff? I do think there is a bit of a contentious nature to it where, you know, we see these things about, I don't know. It's just, I see some weird reactions to some stuff that just seems like common sense to me. Maybe because it's not politically correct. Maybe, I don't know. Like, if you want to make your character look strange or whatever, like Phantom of the Opera, right? Phantom of the Opera is a great story about this flawed character who's like disfigured. They have a problem with their face. So I think there's way to tell those stories. But the big problem I have with the industry is I think they have failed spectacularly about telling important stories as of late. So like, if you want to talk about some of the more delicate topics, I just think like the writers you have on some of this stuff just aren't cutting their weight. And it has a tremendous negative impact on the type of story that you're trying to tell. So anyway, I'm kind of going all over the place, but long and the short of it is, I'm happy Shift Up is making Stellar Blade 2. Anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but yeah. Human beings like attractive things. They like attractive people, and that's just basic human psychology stuff. It's not like weird or anything strange. So yeah. And I think if you're going to tackle difficult topics, it needs to be layered. It needs to have substance and depth. And I think the way they handle some of the subjects that they cover with a frickin' hammer, and it doesn't come across well, in my opinion. Armor increases with less amount of clothing. The buffs, though. It does. I've written papers on it. Yeah, it does. It's true. You're faster with less armor. Yeah. So anyway, sort of my thoughts on that. You know what people don't like? Being called poor. So Randy Pitchford made this tweet. A fan was asking him, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. Not my call. And that's all he said. That's all he said. That's all he had to say. And he's off scot-free. Oh, wait, there's more. There's more to his statement. If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. Randy. Imagine you're like the 2K guy and you're like, oh, did Randy tweet again? What did he say this time? Oh, what stupid thing did Randy say this time? It's not the flash stick again, is it? It's not the USB drive again, is it? Is he talking about that on an interview? I hope not. Anyway, he continued on. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. Cool, Randy. Thanks, Dad. And here's the thing about Borderlands 4. I think Borderlands 4 looks interesting. I'm excited to play Borderlands 4, but come on, dude. What are you? Just don't tweet stuff like this. Hey, I hear where you're coming from. It's a tough economic time out there. We'll do our best to figure out a price that works. Like, I just off the top of my head, I can think of like a million better ways to respond to this tweet than he did. It's just so dumb. So Borderlands 4, it looks good. They're doing a little bit less of the humor. That bums me out. Like, that's my personal reaction to it. If I don't have a few giggles and chuckles in Borderlands 4, I'm not going to be a super fan of that. They've done so good with the humor. Like, even 3, which was contentious, had a few jokes in there that made me laugh, right? And I want more of that. I really, really enjoyed that a lot. So, yeah. It's $70 to $80 worth. I'll wait for a deep sale. And yeah, here's the thing. With all of these games, how much is Avowed right now? When did Avowed came out, what, in February? I did pre-order a Switch. So Avowed came out February 18th, 2025. It's May. How much do you think I can get Avowed for now? How much do you think I can get Avowed for right now? Let's just look on Steam. Oh, it's still $70. So, my God. Okay. I bet I can get it for cheaper than that. Well, you can use one of the key sites and get it for like $20. Is there really no sale on Avowed yet? Am I crazy? Avowed is currently on sale. Both the standard edition and premium edition are discounted by 25% on Xbox.com. All right, yeah. So Avowed's on sale right now. Yeah, look at this. So look, Avowed Premium Edition. You can get it right now for whatever. For this, the standard edition is $52.49. Came out in February. So, I mean, there's so many amazing games out right now that I'm not in a rush to buy anything for the rest of the year. You know what I want to play right now? I haven't had time to touch Clair Obscur. I want to play more Tainted Grail, and I want to play a little bit of Warzone. But like, you know, family stuff comes, like I'm playing Warzone and then like the kids need me. So when I go to the kids, then my character dies and I lose everything. It's kind of hard for me to play Gray Zone these days. Alma says it was $30 last month on key sites. It's $20 today, Alma. So like you can get Avowed for like nothing right now. Borderlands 4 is going to be the same thing. Everybody's playing Blueprints. We did this not that long ago where I actually looked through all of the games coming out. Save your money and give it to Destin. Yes, exactly what Aries says. Give me the money. I'll take it. It will go into my savings account and hopefully earn interest. I think this is why we are seeing people go back to old games like Battlefront 2. These developers think we don't have options. That I agree with, man. Like just this year, I haven't finished Avowed. I barely touched Gray Zone, which is in early access. Tainted Grail, I started it and I'm like, this game is fun. I really, really like this game. Clair Obscur, the Oblivion remake. Delta Force is free. Yeah, real fans would give me $80. Right? Ugh. Schedule 1, Monster Hunter Wilds, Path of Exile 2 had an update I didn't touch. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm just looking on my Steam list. Let's just look on my Steam list. These are all the games that I still have to go back and finish. Stalker 2 didn't finish. Soul Reaver didn't finish. Path of Exile 1 is getting a big update. Indiana Jones didn't finish. Path of Exile 2 had a major update. I haven't touched it. I have like a lot of, not on Steam, on the main app. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, Schedule 1. Delta Force is free to play. I can play it whenever. Elder Scrolls, Clair Obscur, Doom, Tainted Grail, Gray Zone, Destiny 2 had an update. That's like 10 games. And that doesn't count like Final Fantasy 16, which I still haven't finished. I didn't finish any of the Spider-Man games. So when it's like, hey, we're going to raise our games to $80, why? You're competing for screen time in the current market. And I sort of talked about this I think it was in the Randy Pitchford video, where $80 is that price point where people are going to be like, I'm good. I'll wait, especially right now. I still haven't finished Last of Us Part 2 either. There's so many games. Division's getting a big update. There's so many games that are like Destin games, like Path of Exile 2 or the Division update or all of these other things. There's Game Pass games that I haven't even checked out. So yeah, there's just not a ton of reason for me to worry about like getting in on Borderlands 4 the second it comes out. If I'm buying it, like if I'm being given a code for coverage or whatever, then maybe there's more reason for me to get into it. But for you or for me, if I were buying it, I would just wait. Like if I'm just a gamer and like I don't work doing this, like obviously I'm working doing this right now, that's a tough sell. When I have 10 to 15 other games that I could be playing. One last update, though. Well, this is one I would spend $80 on. Cyberpunk 2077 sequel Project Orion to feature both Night City and a new Chicago Gone Wrong city. This is from Mike Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk. The Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, codenamed Project Orion, is going to feature a second city to explore besides Night City, according to information provided by the creator on the Cyberpunk universe. As reported by Polish publication CD Action, Mike Pondsmith recently talked with TVGRY during the Digital Dragon 2025 event, revealing that while he is not as involved in the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel as he was with the original game, he gets to see scripts, check out new cyber war, and talk with the various departments at work on the game, including the environment design people. From these people, he probably learned that the second entry in the series will feature a second city besides Night City. That's awesome. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, has just released and is also great to check out. Here's half-ish towards it. Mez, thank you for the 20 pounds. I already was given a code for Tainted Grail. I started playing it and I was just talking about it as one of the 15 games I listed. So they were like, hey, do you want to check this out? I did the unboxing. That game's great. Like I've played an hour or two of it, but it's really, really fun. I highly recommend Tainted Grail. So far, I've heard later. The only thing I've heard is that later there's some technical issues that could use some polish, but like, yeah, I've seen other big name streamers are playing it and like Mortismal Gaming's playing it and seeming to like it. So yeah. So he continues on. From these people, he probably learned that the second entry in the series will feature a second city besides Night City, which he described as having the feel of Chicago Gone Wrong rather than the Blade Runner-inspired atmosphere of Night City. While unable to share more, Mike Pondsmith added that he sees this city working for the game, so it will definitely be interesting to see how it will fit in the story and universe. Though we probably won't see the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel Project Orion, I can't say it right, anytime soon. The franchise by CD Projekt Red entered the spotlight once again last month when a Nintendo Switch 2 port of the game was announced alongside the Nintendo system. Yeah, man. I'll say this. I like Cyberpunk 2077 at launch because I played it on PC. I played it on a very powerful PC. I had some buggy stuff happen during my playthrough, but for the most part, I no-life that game. I don't even know what my GOG count has for hours. Let me see if my hours are counted on GOG for the original Cyberpunk. Because not only was I assigned for like coverage for work at the time, but I just really liked the game. So it's all I was playing. All games. Cyberpunk 2077. How do I see my games? Own games. I want to see how many hours I played. It doesn't list your hours played on GOG, it looks like. Oh, 186 hours, 45 minutes. 186 hours and 45 minutes in Cyberpunk. So it's way down here. It's hard to read, but yeah, I really like Cyberpunk quite a bit. I heard Starfield has changed quite a bit. And Eric, I got your email, by the way. Thanks for stopping by. I forgot to respond to it, but it's a long one. So I think if I were to go play a game right now, I didn't have to worry about anything else, or I'm not like, oh, what should I be doing for coverage or whatever, I would probably go really hard on Clair Obscur. I'd probably go really hard on Clair Obscur. That's probably what I would do right now. And then I would kind of go from there. I closed my YouTube chat. Whoops. 2077 was great. Same as Witcher 3 level of quality. Yeah, it was. That's why I trust CDPR to figure it out with all the games. I don't want anything spoiled for me about Clair Obscur. I've heard nothing but good things. And yeah, I got to go back and finish that one. So besides the marathon stuff, the art plagiarism allegations, which I have 3 videos of on the channel, and then there was the Randy Pitchford news, there's not a ton going on next week or this last week. That's about it for news. All of it was like these little stories. So that's about all I got for you, if I'm being honest. Did I miss any story? Why didn't you know Life South of Midnight? Because it's like 6 hours long, bro. Yeah, South of Midnight was 6 hours long. I just didn't like South of Midnight as much as other people. I think it was just fine. Like from a gameplay perspective, I don't think it's as good as everybody else. Everybody else adored South of Midnight. I thought I was like, I think the way they told the story was sort of like, eh. And then I was getting accused of like, you're just doing this for views. It's like, this is my lowest viewed, most disliked video that I've made in months. In what world am I doing this for the clicks? Destiny, your marathon coverage has been everywhere. That was some great journalism there, sir. I hope so, IMCL. I did my best to be as correct as I could in terms of journalism. Jay Dublin, a lot of people love South of Midnight. I just thought it was okay. And my main issues were the themes that were explored, because it felt, after I talked with Paris about it, and that's why I love having conversations with people you don't necessarily have the same perspective of, because you kind of come to a little bit of an understanding about where they're coming from and where you're coming from. I think the game was just trying to convey the main character learning more about their mom and what their mom had to go through, and understanding what their parents went through by being exposed to the events that happened. But it was hard for me to play through, like the themes, like anything about kids getting hurt, like really affects me now as a parent. Like I definitely have a more of a reaction than I did when I was not having children. So, yeah. But anyway, you're a streamer. Views keep you running. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm happy with the viewership. I've been very happy with, being independent, the independent coverage I've been able to do. I'm very proud of the work I did on the Bungie report. Things that I could improve on, just reflecting on it, because somebody brought it up in chat. I need to get better at distribution. Somebody flagged like your podcasts aren't publishing. I got to figure out cadence on that and how to get that rolling. I got to figure out, like, I don't know what to offer on Patreon. So that's tricky to do. But the interviews are good. Sometimes the interviews get picked up and people will pull stuff out of the interviews. I think Ben Starr got picked up for something. And there was another one I did that got picked up. So every once in a while, I'll just see headlines about the interviews I'm doing. And that's cool. That's a cool feeling. The one coming out on Monday, it's live on Patreon right now. I played a little bit of catch up today. So the interview with on Patreon is with somebody from Tencent. His name's Chris Kramer. He is a very high level person at Tencent. And we talked about the video game industry. We talked about how AAA versus AA is seeing a resurgence, and what it was like for him working in media, then going into Tencent, and what that jump has been like, and how he's seen the industry evolve and change and reset, and how it feels to him like it does to me that we're seeing an interesting inflection point in the industry. So check that out on Patreon if you're a background patron. And otherwise, you'll see it on YouTube Monday morning, which is tomorrow. So yeah, sad that interview didn't get much view. Which one? So the Ben Starr interview, I didn't make any money on. I made $0 on the Ben Starr interview because I wanted to do the jokes using footage from shows Ben Starr has been in. So I hope anybody who watched that one, I appreciate it very much, but I made $0 from the Ben Starr Save State Plus so that I could make jokes at Ben's expense. And then Ben kind of made the rounds, so that was fun. Yeah, let me see how many views. And then, you know what's really been interesting? People have really enjoyed my actual journalism. People have really enjoyed my coverage, like the Unity piece, reaching out, actually getting comments and doing stuff like that. The Unity video did 59,000 views. I thought it would do like 2,000. And then the Bungie thing, the Bungie story did 73,000 views. So I think I'm going to do more reaching out when this stuff happens because people are looking for that. So I'm happy with how that's been going. The Ben Starr interview, it's one of my better Save State Plus episodes. It did 20,000 views. Yeah, man. So just in the last few months, I got flagged for the GTA audio, which I argued, and then I had to dispute. Just a little YouTube behind the scenes. So I had to dispute the GTA video, which was rejected because there's like a 1-frame thing of the song. I'll show you the kind of money I'm making. Let's make sure that I'm not spoiling anything here. Here's some big money, everybody. That's how much I made on the GTA video. 96 cents. Cha-ching. So, yeah, because it got flagged. And then there was another one, like the Tony Hawk gameplay. Somebody tried to claim the song from the Tony Hawk gameplay. So I don't know if I'm going to get any money on that. I've made a few mistakes, everybody. That's why with music, like all my news videos, you ever notice I don't use music? It's because I got so fed up with the audio issues. And then I found Harris Heller and I started using Harris Heller. Anyway, I've been waffling here for a bit. I'm going to go spend some time with the wife and kids. That's 96 cents you didn't have. That's right. And all it took was several hours of my life away. Not away. I'm glad you guys like the content though. Destin, spread the love, man. Richie Rich over here. Yeah. 96 cents for everybody. I'm going to get out of here, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell if you do like my content. I greatly appreciate everybody hanging out and watching today. Not a ton to talk about besides that marathon stuff. And I get to do the test to multiple platforms again. Thank you so much to the members. Now, I might have to update this, but right now, the only top supporters are Chris Freddy, Phil Aroni, Spingater, and Aries EMS. And then, of course, we have the Mythic level and all the other people who support at any other level. Thank you, everybody, if you supported me. The best place to do so is patreon.com/SaveStatePlus, but you can also do so right here on YouTube by clicking that join button. My hair's a little crazier than I expected. Whoop. Got this thing happening here. I'm going to get out of here. Before I go, thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. If you do want to see that marathon report I did, you can check that out before you leave. And I'm going to see you all for the next one. Bye for now.